There's a lot of expectations for your Boston Celtics this upcoming season. Obviously, winning over 60 games last year, being about 12, 13 games ahead of number 2 in the Eastern Conference. There's a lot riding on this season, so I want you guys to go ahead and predict the Celtics record after winning the NBA championship. Do you guys think they'll be a 60-win team? Do you guys think they'll win 70 games, 50 games? Let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll get into it. Basketball is finally back. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy the preseason game at noon Eastern time. Denver Nuggets versus Boston Celtics in Abu Dhabi. But it just is going to feel so good to watch Boston Celtics basketball. And I've just been wondering, we loved last season, obviously. So did the players. But how can we get that feeling again? How can we not have a championship hangover? And I've got 3 cures to a hangover, baby. Championship, that is. I don't have any remedies for the other one. But let's go on ahead and jump into this one here. The number one thing that I think can help them go back-to-back is being equipped with motivation. Normally, as you guys know, the disease of it, as they call it, is that when they win the Boston Celtics championship or Denver Nuggets or whoever wins a championship, they just get satisfied. And that is the worst thing you could possibly do to yourself, is be satisfied. So I think the Boston Celtics starting 5 has been equipped with enough in their bag to be motivated to go out and get that championship again. Number 1, Jason Tatum. No surprise here. 2 DNPs for the Olympics. That was huge. Jason Tatum is not even going to give credit to Steve Kerr for putting a chip on his shoulder, but obviously it upset him. Same with Jaylen Brown being snubbed from USA. I mean, he went out and got absolutely yoked for this next season. Obviously, he's looking to do some damage. And then I also noticed that with the backcourt duo, right? The all-defensive NBA backcourt duo of Holiday and White. White has not been an all-star. Drew Holiday has never been Defensive Player of the Year. If they play like they're also fighting for this individual chip, they're going to end up getting the real championship with their team to get on the first team, to be the Defensive Player of the Year. And then Kristaps Porzingis, obviously, he has one of the biggest chips on his shoulder saying, look, man, I'm injured, and I'm trying to get back to be just as great as I was before my injury. In my opinion, this whole season is championship or bust. I don't care if you make it to the finals and lose. It's a bust. You have got to win, or there are going to be repercussions. And that's just the unfortunate truth of the NBA. It's a business. And as much as this roster and this team feels so close and so tight, there is not going to be enough money to go around if you do not win a championship. I couldn't imagine that Brad Stevens kept the same roster back-to-back. I don't remember any team doing that, where they haven't added one player except for Lonnie Walker on an Exhibit 10 and then just drafted 2 guys. But the fact that they are well over the luxury tax line, if you do not win the NBA championship, they're going to have to trade people. They are going to have to salary shed because it's going to be too much for not getting back-to-back rings. But I love what Horford said here too, is that there also can be some satisfaction in knowing all your teammates, knowing you're just coming back to play with the same guys you played with 3 months ago. I like what Horford said here, and him being 38 years old, he's got to find different approaches to every single year, year after year. And I like how he said we have to find new ways. We have to find new ways to win. It's not just going to be as simple as it was last year, and just, as simple as it was last year, winning and being the best team in the NBA. But I like that Horford is going to have that mindset of, look, guys, everybody else in the league has already played us. We didn't add anybody different. We didn't add Cat. We didn't add Paul George. So you're going to have to really mix it up to throw off these defenses, or else they're going to look at you and say, you know what? We played you 4 times, 5 times last year. Now we're going to have 5+ more games of the same shit. Horford doesn't want it, and I don't want it either. So my question here for you guys leads up to, can Boston even win back-to-back? I absolutely think they can. This roster has been compared to one of the greatest rosters in my lifetime, the 2017 Golden State Warriors, and they won back-to-back. Type Y for yes, type N for no. And the second reasoning for why I think the Boston Celtics can win back-to-back, it's going to depend on the unicorn. And that is an unfortunate fact. I loved what Joe Mazzulla did last year. He really handled Porzingis with care, not playing him back-to-backs, even if it was against a really good matchup. But unfortunately, getting injured in the playoffs really just kind of threw a wrench into the whole plans, and he makes a difference on this ball team. And the good news is that, yes, he has been rehabbing and he's been recovering, and he's supposed to be back earliest November, latest January, but he's in Abu Dhabi right now putting up shots, which is great. He's got an ankle brace on. You guys can't really see in this picture. He's got a little ankle brace on that right ankle as well. He's been dealing with the whole left leg injury. So I do appreciate Kristaps Porzingis for trying to be his most healthy self, trying to get back out there. But can Porzingis be great again? That is what is really stressing me out, because as optimistic as Porzingis is about his health, which he even said during media day, I said, I feel great. I am doing very low contact. I am working out. I am getting reps in. I'm rehabbing the right way between Latvia and the United States. And I love that about Porzingis, but that's not the question, is how he's been recovering. The question is, can he come back from recovery and be the same player? How long can he stay healthy for? Because we have known that he tends to be a bit fragile in the NBA. And when you do have somebody like 7'3" and built like Porzingis and able to shoot a three like Steph Curry, it does just really freak you out sometimes about how many abilities he does have. But he can get hurt very quickly, and it could be downhill for the Boston Celtics. But thankfully, Joe Mazzulla, Brad Stevens, they've equipped the right roster to back him up. And even Xavier Tillman taking a bigger role here this upcoming year, saying, look, we know what we have to do. For us, it's figuring out where we can be our best assets. Like, Neem is going to be a great shot blocker for us when he gets into the game. And myself, screen setting, on-ball defense, spacing, and shooting threes and stuff like that. And Luke being just savvy, playmaking, everything, off the short roll, as well as a lob, dunks at the rim. Tillman knows the center depth has to step up without Porzingis there, because Porzingis is a game changer for the Boston Celtics. It's making me wonder, thankfully, Porzingis says he'll be back earliest November, latest January. Well, the Boston Celtics trade deadline and the NBA trade deadline is in February. So if Porzingis does come back and maybe not look as great as he did, or there's a, change in production, or maybe he gets injured again, knock on wood that doesn't happen, they may need to make a trade at the deadline for another big if the other three can't seem to get it going. So here's my question for you guys. Should the Celtics add center depth by the trade deadline? Because you got to remember, February's it. After February, it is hauling ass to the finish line to win the championship. So you have time to make critiques if you need it, a.k.a. if Porzingis can't stay healthy, or if he's just not producing the same level that the Celtics need him to. Go on ahead, take your time, comment it down below, and I'm going to tell you guys about our great deal right now on your championship gear. If you guys are looking for finals t-shirts, championship t-shirts, and let me tell you, these bad boys are going to be vintage gold in the next 10, 20 years. You want to be able to have that memorabilia that you can give to your grandkids, you can give to your kids saying, hey, look, the Boston Celtics, they won in 2024 when I was watching Allie on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. And you guys can get this gear at chatsports.com/CelticsChamps24. Go on ahead, type that link in. If you guys can't remember it, I'm going to put it under this video in the comment section. Click on that link. Go on ahead, get 65% off, and get your gear. The last thing that they need to go back-to-back is going to be the other guys. Not Will Ferrell, not Mark Wahlberg. I'm talking about your Pritchards, your Sam Hausers. The bench was a very productive bench last year, but you have to look at the drop-off that you have from your starting five to the bench. They did uphold their own. Absolutely, I'm not saying that. But they're going to have an even bigger role this year, knowing that there's going to be some tweaks to that starting five, whether you're going to have a Cornette in there, or an Xavier Tillman, or putting Tatum at the five. Everybody's going to have a slightly different role. I think the Celtics bench is going to be crucial in the Boston Celtics' success this year. The Sam Hausers, the Peyton Pritchards that you did just extend, maybe even dipping into Lonnie Walker of it all. Because the Boston Celtics had a very good bench last year. Was it the best? It wasn't. Which is ironic because the Boston Celtics starting five was number one in almost every single category in the NBA. But when I went back and really refreshed my memory on what the Boston Celtics bench did, they're 26 in points. 26 out of 30 in points. Obviously, defense, Joe Mazzulla loves his defensive-minded guys. but 29 points is what you're averaging. And I get it. They're a little bit lower because the starting five handles most of the workload, and thank God for that. But even shooting from the field, they're taking good shots. They're getting great open looks from the field and from the three-point line. So that's fantastic. That needs to continue. The rebounding, 8th in the league, absolutely. That did help when Al Horford wasn't starting, though, and he was also in that bench rotation. And then assists, 22nd, 6.7 in the league. So ultimately, you're realizing when your bench comes in, you're getting a little extra help on defense, not entirely on offense. But my main rotation players this year is going to be Pritchard. It's going to be Cornette, Tillman at that center position because of Porzingis and now Horford. And then you're looking at your moneymakers, right? Pritchard, Sam Hauser, looking at lockdown defense in both of these areas, as well as three-point shooting and maybe even a nice half-court buzzer beater coming from Peyton Pritchard. But there's other guys that have room to step up. I have loved watching J.D. Davison and Jaden Springer in NBA Summer League really showcase their skills. Anton Watson, he's on a two-way contract right now. He's fighting for a 15th roster spot like Neemias Queta was last year. And even Jordan Walsh, he's like 20, 21. He's the youngest guy on the roster. There is no limit for what the Boston Celtics bench can do and needs to do to help out these guys who are going to put a little extra on their plate, knowing they're going to have to make up for Porzingis' scoring, Porzingis' defense at the rim, Porzingis is cleaning the glass. It's going to be a team effort. And I do think that Lonnie Walker can make an impact on offense in that, especially when you looked at the offense, 26 in points from the bench, averaging 29 per game. I think Lonnie Walker, putting him in there, can really help out with a backcourt of Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard on your defense, and then putting Lonnie Walker in there as well can really increase your scoring so it doesn't have to be all on the Celtics to pick it back up when they get back into the game. My final thoughts on this is that there really is nobody that has done this since 2017 and 28, and that was the Golden State Warriors. It's because it's extremely hard, and this season, unfortunately, is going to look nothing like last year's season, because last year was great, right? But everybody changes. The NBA is full of trades. It's full of players who are constantly getting better. It's a year-round thing. So it's going to be tough, but do I think the Boston Celtics can do it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Boston can win back-to-back. They can go and get Banner 19 365 days after they get Banner 18. And that is not a request. It is a demand. It's the expectation Brad Stevens and Joe Mazzulla have set in Boston, and I think this roster can get it done. And if you feel the exact same passion that I do about this frickin' ball team, go on ahead, hit that like button for me, spread some love. Boston Celtics basketball is back, baby. Hit that thumbs up button.